Good morning, welcome back to the DanGoesOutdoors YouTube channel. You join me on a miserable, soaking wet morning, walking around my favourite big pit. Haven't been down here for about 3 or 4 months, but I just really want one more big carp before winter properly sets in. So yeah, I've done a lap already, haven't seen anything not surprising in these conditions, but what I'm going to do is just set up about halfway up the lake, middle for diddle, and yeah, just keep my eyes out, get set up, get under the bivvy, and yeah, hopefully I'll see something to move on. If not, I can come back in a couple of days, so yeah, I've got time. That's the bivvy up before I've even started fishing. There are no prizes for being uncomfortable, so I've got this up to keep me dry and keep my gear dry. I'm just going to go out there now and see if I can find a spot to fish over. I've got it on a chest rig now, and I thought I'd just explain how to find a clear spot, because I've just found one. I get asked a lot of questions about how you fish these weedy venues. So all I've been doing is just casting around with a 2-ounce distance lead on, nice streamlined lead, so if it does go in a weed I can pull it out very easily. And all I've been doing is casting at quite obvious horizon markers, knowing that if it gets dark or if I forget where I'm casting, I can easily find it again. And then just feeling the lead down for a drop and pulling it back. So having found a clear spot, let me show you what that looks like. Just chuck this out. Hit the clip. So it's going down. Bang. Rod tip's sprung back because it's hit on something firm. Now if you watch the rod tip, pull it back, nice and clear, wind down, pull it back again, and now when I pull back this time, you'll see the rod tip bend round. There we go. So now it's in weed. So I get a couple of drags back, so maybe 5 or 6 feet, and then I hit some weed. So let's just do that again. Bang, hit the clip, follow it down with the rod, hit the bottom, nice and firm there, and again, tighten up to it, pull it back slowly. It's coming in really easily this time. And again, oh, little bump, and now we've hit the weed at the back of the spot. That's a lovely spot. Since I'm planning on casting out and then not really doing anything else with my rods unless something happens, I better show you the rig now. So as I said, I'm fishing over some silt, so I've gone for a pop-up rig. It's a hinge stiff rig, fished quite high. You can see that ends up about 2 or 3 inches off the deck there, with a yellow pop-up on this one, and on the other one I've got a white. I often switch over to dark baits at this time of year, but I've not got long, so I quite like the idea of a bright bait catching a fish's attention on this short session. And then it's quite weedy, so a lead clip set to eject the lead if the fish does get into any trouble, but if it doesn't, I'll land both the fish and the lead, and a little bit of rig tubing to sink the line and protect the flank of the fish. That's fished on really strong 15-pound main line, big pit reels, 3.5-pound test curve rods. Really, there's no point in fishing here unless you're using strong gear, you just won't land them in the weed. So yeah, I'll chuck this out now, put a little bit of bait over it, and sit back and watch the water. Well, that was embarrassing. It took about 5 goes to get that rod right. I just kept drilling it on top of the other rod, so if anything, my casting was too good. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Time to put some bait over these suckers. And I'm thinking maybe 8 spods. Not too much, because I might end up moving, even in this rain. I am wearing a finger stall for once, because my hands are pretty wet in this rain. There's one. Quick time check. It's about 20 past 9 and both of my rods out. Got bait over them. Ended up going with actually about a dozen spods because I just thought, well, it's looking likely that I'm going to stay in this spot, and if I am going to come back in a couple of days, it'd be nice to get a bit of bait out that I can move back onto. But anyway, yeah, I wish it had gone a lot quicker, but you know, it only got bright at about 7, half 7, something like that, so it's taken me a couple of hours. I'm a little bit out of practice, and this rain did not help at all. It is horrible. So I'm just happy now to maybe sit down for a little while, chill out, dry out a bit, and, you know, maybe get a bite. Fingers crossed. It must be time for a midday update. The rods have been out for about 4.5 hours now, something like that, but nothing's really happened at all. And you know, on here, when I get a bite, I rarely get one out of the blue. There's always a little bit of a build up, some activity, maybe the odd tench, but that's just not happening today. And normally when I'm not catching, I put it down to location, I'm just not on the fish, but I can't see any. You know, every time it stops raining like now, I come out the bivvy and I have a walk up and down the bank and I see what I can see. Every time I see a cormorant go over, I spot it. So if a carp did pop its head out, I'd like to think I would see it. But yeah, I just haven't seen anything. So I'm pretty happy that I'm in the middle. So at least if fish do come by, I've got a chance. But yeah, I think this cold northerly wind and all this rain has just knocked it on the head. So I'll give it a few more hours. But I think, I don't know, I think we're looking at a blank today. It looks like I've got a little bit of a break in the weather, so I'm going to take advantage of it, pack away and go home. It's maybe an hour or two earlier than I normally would, but there's nothing happening, and you know, it's not even a sort of day where I'd think, oh, just give it another hour, something might happen. It's just dead. Before I go, I am going to put the rest of my bait in, just so when I come back in a couple of days' time, I've got somewhere to start. I'll still have a look around, but if I don't see anything, at least it gives me a starting point. It's the day after tomorrow, and I'm back. Yeah, much better morning this, really lovely morning, very misty lake, and I'm seeing more fish. I just haven't seen a carp or a tench or a bream, anything like that, but there's loads more life today, so I'm really hopeful. I think what I'm going to do, since I haven't seen a fish elsewhere, I am going to set back up over the bait that I put in and do what I did last time, just keep my eyes out. Luckily it's not chucking it down, so I can stay out the bivvy, I can walk around a bit more, and yeah, if I see something I'll react. If not, not showing on the surface, it means it could be on my bait. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Here we go, first cast. Slightly lower pop-up this time, because when I wound in last time, the rigs didn't have that horrible silty smell that I thought they would, so I'm guessing the bottom's a bit firmer, a bit cleaner than I thought. So yeah, lower pop-up, and really this rig needs to go in first time, because the fish are there already. I don't want to scare them. Two rods in 2 casts, that basically never happened, so I'm well happy with that. I think what I'm going to do is fish for the first hour or so without putting any extra bait out, just in case there's still some bait out there and if fish are on it now, I don't want to spot over the top of them. So I'll give it an hour and a half, and then I might put a little bit more bait in. It's been about an hour and a half, no quick bite, so I think it's time to get a little bit of bait in, just to sprinkle it over the rods. I've just put 4 spods out, but I've just seen a fish hurl itself out further up the lake, so I'm gonna have to go for a little walk, I think. I don't really know what to do. I poked my head around the corner there and watched for about 10-15 minutes and didn't see anything else. There is another angler opposite who's now trying to cast at that showing fish, so I don't really want to go round there and mess up his fishing. Also, he's probably put those fish off now because he made a hell of a lot of casts. But anyway, I think I'm just going to keep an eye on the situation, stay in this swim, and if I see more fish, I will have to move. Another midday update, and I'm catching so many fish, I don't know how I've found time to do this. I mean, that's a joke. Nothing's happening, and I'm really bummed that I saw that fish further down because I really want to go down and fish there, but there's that angler opposite and he's just casting constantly. I don't really know if he's leading around or whatever, maybe finding spots for another day, who knows. But yeah, I'm thinking though that all of his disturbance and the fact that the wind is now coming up here might push some fish my way, you never know. But yeah, I don't know, it's looking again like I'm gonna blank. I'm calling it a day there. You know, nothing's really happened, and I probably should have set up further down quicker, but you know, with a couple of other anglers down there, I just didn't want to get in the way or whatever. And you know, that's part of fishing these club waters. You've got to have some manners about you, I guess. But yeah, I can come back next week if I want to. I'm just sort of mulling it over in my head whether, you know, 2 blanks is enough, or if I really want to go for that hat trick, make it 3 in a row, because that'd be a special achievement, that. Or do I start my pike fishing early? Who knows? I'm not sure. But one thing is for sure, I'm going to wind in now and get out of here. Good morning. Okay, I'm going to keep this brief because I'm really keen to get fishing. What I've done is I've headed down to the spot where I've seen a fish last week. I didn't go on the rivers, I didn't go piking, by the way. There's too much water in, and although it could be good for fishing, I just really want a carp. So I've headed down here. I've already found 2 really good spots to fish over, and I'm just keen to get the rods out because it looks like it's about to rain, but also I want to catch a fish. Right, let's get these things sorted and yeah, get going. Okay, stop the time lapse a second because I've just made a cracking error. I was cutting down the grass around my rod so I could get my bobbins and my alarm set, and I've cut through the braid on my spot rod. Brilliant, so that's my shock leader cut right through. Got to retie and get going because it has already taken longer than I want it to, as always. Right, better get cracking. Just talk you through what I've got going on out here then. So where I saw the fish last week is about 50-60 yards in front of this peg here, but I haven't even bothered leading around out there because I know from experience that it's very weedy. What I have found is a spot slightly to the left and another spot slightly to the right, both at just under 50 yards. So I've kind of bracketed the area that I think the fish are in. I've committed a bit of a sin in that I haven't done a lap of the lake, I've just gone straight to where I saw the fish last week, but you know, I'm pretty sure they're not up that end. I've spent 2 days there and I haven't seen anything further down, so I'm happy to be here. I'm going to get the bivvy up now because we are going to get some weather. It's going to be about 18-mile-an-hour winds, which doesn't sound like much, but when you're on a big exposed pit like this with no trees around it, yeah, it whips up a storm quite quickly. So yeah, put the bivvy up, get in there and just hope we catch something. It's coming up on about 12 o'clock now, and I've just seen a fish show over to the left, and I've actually seen fish show twice on the exact same spot. So I'm going to chuck a zig over there. It's a little bit dicey because it is very weedy, but I'm sure I can land them. I've done it a lot before. So yeah, I'm going to hoy a zig long distance so at least I know I've got a presented bait near some fish. With the wind behind me, hopefully I'll be able to absolutely death bomb this out there. not bad. I'm just about down to the last hour or so of this 3-day autumn carp fishing thing I've been doing. But, you know, like the other 2 sessions, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen, and I'm gutted. I felt closer to catching a fish today, certainly, knowing that there are carp out in front of me has really spurred me on. But, you know, I haven't seen a fish since I chucked my zig out, and I haven't had a beep or anything, so if fish are in front of me, they're maybe just not having it today. I know a lot of other anglers have been struggling as well, but, you know, still got a little bit more time, so I'm going to hang it out and just hope one of these rods rattles off. It's getting really dark, really gloomy now, so I think that signals the end for me. So that's 3 days carp fishing for nothing. But, you know, if I could do it again, would I do anything differently? Probably not. I fished as close to the fish that I've seen as I could, or as close as a lake and a weed will allow. And, you know, I've tried hard, but it just hasn't happened. If you stuck with me to the end, thank you so much. Sorry I didn't catch anything, but that's just the way it goes. New season around the corner, and there will be loads more fishing done. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.